Hello everyone, welcome back to LiQWYD. Today we have game 2 of the Blurple mirror match against Kaylee. Of course, I am playing the Dumbo version, she was playing Dumbo-less. She's using Yzma as her draw engine. Now, I quite comfortably took game 1 after a little bit of a slow start. I was able to turn that round, overwhelm Kaylee and take the board state. Really happy performance there. In game 2, we're starting off with Royal Guard against her Rafiki, but I do have Ramp in my hand, so a nice little start there. Noticeably, we don't have a 4-cost character in my hand, which is a little bit of a negative. In Blurple, I want to go for a turn 1 1-cost, turn 2 Ramp, follow it up with a 4-cost character. Kaylee's going to be inking an Iago there, get the T-Power, ink an additional card, then pass turn. So hitting the ramp, that's the start that she wants. Noticeably in Kaylee's hand, she doesn't have a 4-cost character at the minute, so I think that is a bit of a mistake getting rid of that in her ink. We want to be saving that. As much as we do have lots of actions in Blurple, obviously Iago is still quite hard to get rid of. The risk is if it does pop straight away, you're losing quite a bit of tempo, but my god, look at the state of my hand there. Second star to the right, Elsa, Big Hades, Finders Keepers and Scar. That is not the start we're looking for in this game. This is going to be quite hard for me to follow up. I'm quite lucky in the sense that Kaylee got rid of that Iago, because I'd be under a lot of pressure there. She's going to be paying out 2 to get her Hypnotic Strength off, putting it on Tipo, giving her the additional challenger. Nothing to challenge into, but it lets her draw the additional card. She'll then stick Tipo into her Inkwell, and that's about all Kaylee can do her turn. If she did keep that Iago, she would have been in a lot stronger position here. She's going to quest with the Tipo, baits me to challenge him with the Royal Guard. She can then take it out with the Rafiki on the next turn, getting her to keep board control. Obviously, I've not went into that 4-cost character, so there's nothing we can really play. I'm going to get into the unknown, straight into my Inkwell. There's nothing I want to be popping on the board this early in Blurple, and Finders Keepers I need to be keeping in my hand so I can try and refill it. We've got some great later game cards there, but at the minute the hand is looking very weak, and I'm going to need to work out a way to get back into this quickly, otherwise the tide's going to start turning very quick.
Hold on, like, comment, share and subscribe. Come on, hurry up.
Sitting on 4 ink, Kaylee is due into Sail the Azurite Sea. She is potentially going to be playing that out, taking additional draw, see which she can go into. I think Rafiki definitely takes out Royal Guard this turn. Nope, she's got the Genie there, so 4 into the Genie, gets the additional card draw. She can then ink a card for turn here. I would definitely recommend Sail, but she's gone for Vision. Wouldn't recommend getting rid of your digging card there. Kaylee's not using Finders Keepers in the deck, so she is relying on Vision and Yzma for a draw engine. I would like to be keeping a hold of that Vision, just especially since she's not got a lot of cards in hand. Only 3 is a little bit weak. We've went into the Finders Keepers, we went into Royal Guard, Genie, and I believe that's a 5-cost Elsa, but that's all we can do with the turn. Gonna have to pass there. Now, a little bit of a worrying board state, 2 characters to 0 on the board. Obviously, at this point, I would never normally play Finders Keepers, who didn't really have much of a choice. She's going to be shoving her Baymax out there, healing Rafiki, getting Law off that, and she has Sail into the Unknown, and I believe that's her Alice Proxif version of Hades in her hand. She'll quest out with Genie, and then looks like she'll be passing turn. Now, good bit of knowledge from Kaylee there. Of course, I run Scar in my deck, which is a 6-cost rush character. I would be able to shove that out and take out the Rafiki if she exerted it. So it makes sense to leave Rafiki upright, wait till it can challenge in. Drawn into Mim Elephant there, obviously a bit of a terrible card if I've got no cards on the board. So looks like it's going to have to be Elsa. Yep, Elsa, and then exert Rafiki, take that out straight away, clear the board as much as we can, get to ink down a card, and then get out Royal Guard. So at least we've got a bit of board presence. 4-0 on the lore total, which isn't great for us, but at least we have cards in our hand now. And since we have some bigger cards, it means we can do some work here. Kaylee's drawing second star to the right. She never wants to see that this early in the game. Bit of a brick. Big difficulty with this card that I'm finding is, since everyone in Blurple is playing it now, you know to get rid of the higher cost characters, they can't sing it. It feels like such a wasted turn having to use all 10 ink to be able to play it. I've got in my hand there, so a massive brick as well. She's going to be playing out her Hades, dropping my Elsa into my Inkwell. That at least gives me a little bit of ramp, but she can now quest before going up to 8 total. Said in the last game, Kaylee is obviously using Alice as her Hades proxy. She does share the Hades with her boyfriend, so that's why she's a little bit limited there. I'll say again, I do think it is perfectly useful to use proxies, especially in the testing period. Obviously, you can't use them in a tournament, but whilst you're getting a feel for your deck, see what's working, what isn't working, I definitely recommend using them. I print mine off a Lorcana proxy website, nice and easy. You print a sheet, cut it out, stick it straight into your cards. Kaylee's obviously discussed with me using Alice as the proxy beforehand, so I'm aware of what card that is. We've used the Scar there to take out her Baymax, get that off the board. She's then able to sing second star to the right with the Hades proxy and Genie. That's 11 cost total, obviously comes to 10. Draws another 5 cards. She just went into another second star to the right. Jesus Christ. I'm going to want to get some characters off the board here, but she gets in with a Mad Mim Elephant, bringing the Hades back into her hand, which causes a lot of problems for me. Going to ink the Ana there and then play out Yzma. She's able to get off a secondary draw engine. However, with a second star to the right, I'm not sure that card's going to be too useful. However, nothing wrong with getting an additional bit of board presence. Ready up my Scar there. We drew into a Rafiki, which is a terrible draw at this point. It's not really doing anything for us. There's an argument that I can get Rafiki down just to fill out my board a little bit. The best way to beat Blurple is to overwhelm the board state. Especially since a lot of people have taken a lot of the Monstros out their deck, it's a lot harder for them to deal with the wider board state now. Once again, something I really don't agree with, but I'm going to get the big Elsa down there. Really nice play. It's going to stop Yzma and Mim Elephant from being able to exert. I'm then going to stick the Rafiki into my Inkwell. Do I have anything else in my hand that I can play out? I don't think so. Now, reason for inking that Rafiki instead of playing it out there, I think I just value the cards too much in my hand, so I'm not wanting to get rid of them straight away. Got Genie on the end there, which is uninkable. Not too sure about the other two. And now we are just looking to see if we want to challenge with that Scar. Scar is going to go into... Yep, the Mim Elephant. Obviously, the +3 challenge of Scar there, really useful. Now, once again, a lot of people don't run Scar in their deck. I've said that it's great for purple steel, but even those big elephants are hard to deal with. Don't get me wrong, they're not as great in the Blurple meta because it's only 2 ping damage, but I still think it's really useful to get rid of a bigger character like Hades or the Mim Elephant. A little bit confusion there with Kaylee. She just went to ready the Yzma. Obviously, I've played down Big Elsa, which force exerts the character till the end of the turn, so she's not able to ready Yzma. She's going to be paying out a large amount of ink there to get the Hades back on the field. Elsa goes into my ink. Obviously, a good bit of board control. However, I'm not too disappointed with that, as it is helping me ramp, which means my bigger characters can come out easier. I've drew into the Hidden Strength there, which allows me to get Challenger. So my Rule Guard could take out the Yzma this turn. I think I'm going to want to get rid of that. Hades is a shout, but maybe getting rid of the Genie is a smarter idea since it's evasive. Hades I can take out with one of my characters later on. Evasive is just a little bit harder to deal with the deck unless I draw into my Feather card, which allows me to equip it to it and give a character evasive. Going to be sticking down Genie, getting an additional bit of draw, and we draw into Bell, Accomplished Mystic. So we can do a little bit of damage moving, but of course no damage on my characters at the minute, so not too useful. I am going to be challenging to Yzma with my Royal Guard, taking that out, and then we have around 6 ink I think left, so it looks like it's going to be Bell going into the Inkwell and Hades coming out, get that board clear and limit Kaylee there. Obviously, she does have 4 cards in her hand and a strong ink total, so she's not doing too bad at the minute. 10-0 on the lore total. I've only got 2 cards in my hand, one of them second star. We're in a really tricky position here. I'm going to have to hope that she's not able to get rid of my Hades or Genie so I can get second star off. But it looks like she's drew into Big Elsa, which is going to force exert, stop me from being able to get second star. Awful position here, guys. So you can see, even without the use of Dumbo, she is completely controlling this game. Now, don't get me wrong, like I said, I have had a bit of bad luck with my draw. I've not went into the cards that I need. Drawing into a Rafiki there really is not very good. We've got Hades and Big Elsa on the board, so she's going to be questing for 5 next turn, taking her from 12 to 17. I'm in really dangerous territory here. Going to have to hardcast, second star to the right. We go into Sail, Royal Guard, Feather, Elsa, Iago. Not a lot that we can really do there. I think I'm going to have to get some more board presence out. Well, in fact, I can't, can I? Nothing low enough in the hand. We're going to be inking the Feather. Could I go for Sail here just to get a bit of an additional draw? Yeah, that's what we do. Take the additional draw. I can then ink another time. However, Monstro could be absolutely clutch here. If she exerts, I can take both those characters out with the Monstro. I've inked the Rafiki additionally there, put out Royal Guard. Now, I do need to make sure that I have cards still in my hand for this Monstro to be able to pop off. The Monstro's effect, you need to discard a card to ready with them, so essential that I've got additional cards in my hand, which is why it is so clutch for cards like Finders Keepers and Second Star to the Right to be in my deck. Like I say, I know a lot of people are taking out the Finders Keepers so they can use cards like Vision or Develop Your Brain, but I think that bulk collection into your hand, getting the 3 cards or the 5 cards from Second Star, is so essential for your Monstro to work properly. Elsa is going to exert my Royal Guard. She's going to be able to take that out straight away. Looks like she's still got plays that she wants to make first though. Going to be sticking a card into her Inkwell here. Board state looking very strong against me. What are we going here for Kaylee? Kaylee is going to drop down Anna. And she's going to play out another Elsa. Okay, nothing to exert there, but she can do some challenging. Would make sense to get rid of the Genie there with the Elsas. Yeah, really smart play there. Take away the evasive threat. 2 damage back on each of the Elsas. Now, at this point, if it was me, I would just be questing. I don't think Hades is that much of a threat against her, so I'd want to get as close to 20 as possible to put the pressure on. By doing this, yeah, she's went into the Hades. I really don't think that's the right play here. There isn't cards like Pirate's Life in Blurple to be able to take lore totals back down. At this point, she's leaving herself on 12. And Hades really wouldn't have been able to do much. Not too sure you went for the right decision there. For me, I want to put as much pressure on the opponent as possible. And I think this just gives me a small gap, a very, very small gap to be able to get back into the game just with this Monstro card here. So having to think about how I'm wanting to do my turn, like I say, I think the only way through it is getting Monstro out. I have to do a couple of forced discards to be able to clear her board. Obviously, I can't get rid of the Elsas, which is a shame. Going to be getting that Monstro out. The good thing is we've still got quite a lot of ink available. If I could get a draw card off this turn, could be really useful for the Monstro. Paying out another little bit of ink here, and we are going to play Hypnotic Strength, giving that to Royal Guard, boost it up with Challenger, get to draw a card, get additional Challenger on my Royal Guard now. We've run into Madam Mim Elephant, and having a little bit of a think about the best way to do this. I say this a lot in my game, guys. Sometimes it makes sense just to slow things down and really think out your turn, work out the best order, especially when you're in a tricky position like this. 12-0 with her board state is really threatening for us, so we need to be sensible. I'm going to ink the Mim Elephant, no use in this matchup, and then I'm going to get out Argo, keep the board presence there. I'm going to take out her card with the Royal Guard, and then Monstro is going to take out the Hades. Limited cards in my hand, so do I want to re-exert Monstro here? Could be useful to encourage her to challenge in. If it was me, I wouldn't take that trap. I wouldn't challenge with the Elsas to get rid of Monstro. It's only a 2-quester. I'm just going to pass the turn there. Hypnotic Strength and an Elsa in hand. Really, really bad position. Not too sure how many cards Kaylee's got in her hand, but she's definitely in a better state than us. Got the Hypnotic Strength, Mim Elephant, and then I think that's the Second Star in her hand. Now, I have noticed that she's playing quite a few of these 6-cost Arnas in her deck. I don't think that's a very useful card. I'm not a fan of it. I just don't really think that it does anything for the game state. It's okay, but it just seems a bit slow. She's going to be playing down the Elephant there after questing with the Elsa, sticking it back into her hand. Maybe I was wrong with the Second Star to the Right in her hand. If that was me, I would have been using both Elsas to sing it there, get the additional card draw. Obviously, there's nothing in Blurple to get rid of cards, so it will make sure that you've got a solid hand size. Now, I think she's played Hypnotic Strength onto her Elsa there, boosting up the stats for it a little bit, giving her additional draw. She's got Yzma that she's drew into there, so she could play that out to refill her hand a little bit on the next turn. Yzma going down. Yzma seems good, but I just don't think it's very good in Blurple. In a deck, maybe like Purple Steel or maybe Green Amethyst, I can see the use of it because you're going quite low on your hand size and quite easy to refill there. Obviously, Blurple, we want to be drawing as much possible in the deck, so it feels a bit awkward using a card which is reliant on you having a low hand size when we want to have a bigger hand. I've got the Second Star to the Right in my hand now, drew into that, also got the Hypnotic Strength and Elsa. Think I have to sing that and find some options, drawing 5 cards. We get the Hades. That is massive Really happy with Hades, Dumbo, Genie, and an Into the Unknown. We have some plays available. I can be using the Elsa there to exert a character into the unknown, straight into the Inkwell. Great removal. I've also got Hades as an option if I want to get more board presence. Looks like I'm going to be playing out Elsa, exert the Yzma, cut off her draw engine straight away there. Really sensible play. 13-0. I need to be grafting hard and clearing her board. I cannot let her get additional draw off. I cannot let her get even more of a lead, otherwise I'll never be able to come back. Obviously, both characters are exerted here, so I'm not able to sing Into the Unknown. I will have to hardcast it. Going to be hitting Hypnotic Strength onto Elsa there, draw an additional card. We take out the Yzma, not giving her the ramp there, I see. And then, how much ink do I have remaining? Do I have enough for the Hades? If I do, that could be really clutch. Just counting out the ink there, and yes, we have enough for the Hades. What a comeback there. Hades comes in, gets rid of her card, straight into the Inkwell. Only an Elsa left on the field. There's a will, there's a way, guys. I might be able to clutch my way just back into this. Gonna ink the Rafiki. Obviously, could ink something else and get back on the field. But cards in my hand, double Dumbo, Genie, and Into the Unknown, far too valuable. Genie is going to be an additional card for me. Dumbo, an additional draw engine. She is going to hard cast Second Star to the right. So that was the card that was in her hand there. What a misplay by Kaylee on the last turn. Both Elsas could have sung that, got way more cards. Hand hard cast it, really minimising what she can do to her board state now. Paying 10 for not Into the Unknown, Second Star to the right is never going to feel good. Not a play I am in favour of. She is going to be taking out my Elsa with her. Elsa clears the board state a little bit, but I've got Iago, Monstro, and Hades on the board. There is a chance I can come back with this here. My board is looking far better, but it is dependent on what she has in her hand. See, Elsa, Belle, Elsa there. Few cards, but I have a mass of ink. There is a lot we are going to be able to work with here. Board is starting to look far stronger. Drew into the Hades as well. More removal. Really happy with that. Do I need to utilise that straight away? I don't think so. I can challenge in with Iago, take out the Elsa. Genie is going to come down, get me an additional card draw. Would probably make sense to get a Dumbo out on the field here. And that is what we're going to do. Dumbo, a fantastic late game card. I do not like to see that on the turn 3 or even any earlier than a turn 6 or 7. Dumbo is fantastic in the late game on getting you additional cards when you have evasives out. I never want to be playing Dumbo out into an evasiveless field. It just feels a bit weak and flat. Another 2 Dumbos in my hand there, so lots of options. We're going to be paying a little bit more ink, and we're going to be playing out Into the Unknown, getting rid of the Elsa. Looks like I'm going down the route of exerting my Iago to get additional card draw. Hand is looking a little bit flat, and that's what we go with. Exert Iago, pay 1 ink, draw a card, gain a law. We are on the board now, 1-13. Drew into an Elsa. If we have enough, could take out the Rafiki here. Do not hate that play. Going to be sticking the Dumbo into the ink. Obviously got 2 in the hand. A little bit hesitant there. I don't think you need that in your hands, Zach. Just get rid of it. Paying out. Do we have enough for the Elsa? No, only 4. So we're going to be getting the Dumbo down. Quest with the Hades onto the board. 3 total. What does she have in her hand to be able to get rid of this? Going up to 5 there with a Monstro and pass in turn. Kaylee has a very large filled hand now, so I do need to be very careful. If she's able to fill out the board and just hold her characters there, it's going to be really difficult for me to do. Lore-wise, I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 available lore on the board, so I can get to 14. I can go for a 2-turn win, unless she's able to control me. Counting out her ink there, looks like a potential Hades. Yeah. Hades onto the Dumbo, get rid of the evasive threat. Smart play, but I still have a Dumbo on the... But no! Belle taking out the Monstro damage onto the Dumbo. That is awful. Losing my draw there. 2 Dumbos gone, 1 into the ink. Oh, top decked another one. All the Dumbos have came at the right time just when I need them. Kaylee sitting on 13 lore total with 2, 3, 4, 5 on the board. She can get to 18. Genie in the hand as well as a Mim Elephant, some other cards. We're looking at Monstro, Iago, Hades, and Genie on the board. Dumbo, Elsa, and I think that's a Hades in hand. We need to get some removal down, stop her from getting too high, and begin questing out. Hand is looking quite small though. Dumbo onto the field is probably the sensible play. Get some information first. We've got the ink to be able to do it. Dumbo comes down straight away. Let's get that information off. I think pay 1 for the Iago and then maybe on the Genie as well to see what we can do. Quick count of the ink there just to make sure that I do have enough for the Hades on the following play. I am then going to be getting Elsa out, exerting Belle. and then I can challenge straight into that with probably Monstro. Could do it with Iago as well. Iago is going to take out the bell, 4 damage coming back. Big benefit of Iago here, really big beefy character. A lot of people have went in favour of Tip-Top, 6 cost evasive, which has a really big beefy stat line as well. Obviously not a vanished character, so doesn't disappear as easy as Iago, but a 6 cost is harder to get out. If they don't have the action to get rid of Iago, it's an absolute menace, something I really love having in the deck, especially being able to get out as early as turn 3 because of our Blurple ramp. Once again, counting out the ink there to see my options. I think it's an Into the Unknown in the hand that I have, so I do need to do some exerting, find some more answers. Exert the Genie, go to 6, draw a card. Drew into Sail the Azurite Sea there, not really what I need, but I can get an additional card off it to see some other options. Full exerting here. No, it was the Hades. Lucky I had that in the hand. Hades onto the Hades, gets that into an Inkwell. My board is really starting to look massive here. Kaylee is in a terrible position, only with Rafiki on the field, and I can't help but to think this is because she didn't sing with both Elsas. Going to be discarding Sail the Azurite Sea, getting Monstro fully up right there. No cards in hand, but I've got good control on the board. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 lore available on the field if she can't take out anything this turn. Only evasives exerted. Rafiki cannot challenge into anything. Does she have a Hades or an Elsa in her hand to be able to do something here? She has the Elsa, and I think she's going to have to exert the Dumbo, cut off the draw engine, but not a lot she can do with such an empty field. Going to be taking out the Iago here. 4 damage back on the Elsa. Does she have a bell that she can ping some damage across? Doesn't look like she does. Double Elsa in hand as well as double Genie, and that Mim Elephant hand is looking really weak. I do not think there is anything that Kaylee can do to come back into this game. If I pull this off, I think this might just be a miracle because I was down and out with that card draw at the beginning of the game. Having a good think about our options here, potentially going for a Genie to get an additional draw. Genie comes out, draws into Iago, not what she needs once again. 4 to get the Iago out. She's going to have to try and board control on the next turn, but really there is nothing she can do. Iago goes right at the top, and I think Kaylee just has to pass her turn, which she does. I draw my single card, 1 card in hand. Potentially, I could just quest out here. She has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the board, can get to 18. I can get to 19. I'm in a more threatening state. She will have to control the next turn, otherwise I just win. Exerting Dumbo here, gain a lore, as well as link and drawing a card, draw into a Sail. Sail is going to let me get an additional card into the hand. We go into Monstro, big beefy character, doesn't have the evasive though, she doesn't do anything about the Elsa, which is a little bit of a shame. Still got Elsa here, which I could exert with Dumbo's effect, gain the same lore, draw a card, get some more options. Do I want to... Nope. We're doing Genie first, gain a lore, draw, potentially want to be challenging with that Elsa. I've went into Iago there. Elsa is then going to take out the Elsa card. So obviously I've went with Genie first as I don't want the damage stacked on him as he quests for a higher amount. Elsa then does the challenging. Double checking our ink total here. Monstro, Scar and Iago in the hand. Nothing I can do for challenging here. No more evasives that I can exert to be able to draw a card. 10 to 13, this game's got a lot closer, and I think it is definitely going my way. Board presence is going to be so hard for Kaylee to deal with. Looks like we are going to be exerting a large amount and going out for the Monstro, big beefy character on the board, number 2, following that off with an additional 4, I believe. No, we are taking the 6, playing out Scar, another hard character to deal with, questing for 2 as well. Monstro, Hades, and the other Hades quest out, taking me to 16 total. 4 lore needed to go, huge board stake. Kaylee cannot win from this position. Is there anything she can draw into? Went into the Yzma, does nothing for us. Genie, Mim, Elsa in hand. Can play 2 Elsas maybe, try and exert some characters, but there is no way she's going to be able to clear this board state as well as my non-exerted characters. Another big help of Monstro being in the deck here, such a huge defensive stat line. Takes out Dumbo with the Iago, 3 damage coming back. Gonna have to be a Genie, get an additional draw, goes into the Unknown, can potentially get another character into the ink here, it slows me down slightly, but too much lore available on board. Having a little think if there is any single opportunity for her to get out of this mess. Will we be hard casting into the Unknown? Could sing it with the Genie potentially. Playing around with the ink. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ink available. So goes for the Elsa, going to be exerting either Monster or Scar there. Still not enough to be able to take out both characters. Elsa and Rafiki maybe? No, Elsa and Ginny going to take out the Ginny, gets rid of another 2 Quester. Rafiki still available, can only challenge into Hades or Scar. Not enough damage to be able to take them all out. Having a little shuffle around the board here, just see if there's anything she can do. Goes for 4, gets the Mim Elephant out, brings Elsa back into hand. Not enough ink, can't do anything. Game goes to me. Right, guys, thank you so much for sticking around. Just shows you, looks like Dumbo needs to stay in Blurple. Make sure to stay tuned to the next video. If you can, make sure to hit that subscribe button for me. We are getting very close to 600 subscribers now, on the way to make 1,000 subscribers. See you in the next one, guys. Bye!